This is Stephanie Rittermont, and I'm the president of Courageous Living, a life coaching business. And my passion is to help people really tap into their gifts and talents to maximize them and empower themselves to go further and farther than they ever thought possible. And what I'd like to share with you in this video is how to de-stress for the holidays. The holidays are upon us, and maybe you are feeling some anxiety over it. You're anticipating what the conversations are going to be with family members. Or maybe you're the one who's putting on the dinner and you're kind of stressing about that. So I want to give you some pointers on how to de-stress, especially with the interaction with other people. And so 88% of the people actually stress about the holidays. Do you realize that the population of 88%, how huge that is? And so all the more reason for us to kind of find what's going to work for us when we go into the holiday season. This may be the first year of first for many of you. And what I mean by that is maybe there's a loved one that we've lost in the last year and they're not going to be at the table. Maybe you're recently divorced and now this is your first year of really as a single person or a single parent. And now you're trying to navigate through that without the other family being present like it was in the past. Maybe you've lost your job and you're wondering how are we going to navigate this holiday season financially. And so now here are the holidays. What are you going to do? How are you going to handle that? The goal of this video is to find out what resonates with you. You're not going to do all the steps maybe this year, but as you go through each year, new holidays that are coming up, you can incorporate them if this is something that you really struggle with. The first thing I want you to know is that you're not actually alone. I know there might not be anyone present and so it feels very alone, but realize there are so many people out there that are going through their first year of first. There are so many people out there that struggle with the holidays. And so if you can think that I'm not alone in this, maybe there's no one present right now, but when you look at the big landscape, there's other people that are struggling, that have anxiety or wondering how to handle certain situations at the holiday time, just like you are. The other thing is that you might feel alone, but you're not alone. If you are a faith-based person who goes to church or reads their Bible, you know that God is very present. And so there's times when we do feel lonely. I'm not going to deny that that's not an emotion that we feel. But there's times that we have to kind of step back and look at the bigger picture. And that is if you're a person who knows God, you know that He is ever present with you. He'll never leave you nor forsake you, even at the holiday time. And so if that's something that's a personal relationship for you or something that you can relate to, really explore that and tap into that. Now, the other important thing is don't isolate yourself. You know, a lot of times when we're feeling kind of alone and, you know, everyone else is going to the holiday parties and this and that, and you want to kind of turn inward. Don't do that. You know, there are people right outside your door that need you. You know, if you know that there's a neighbor a few houses down that, you know, their kids leave at 1 o'clock because they also disperse to go to their family dinners, other places, and you know they're alone, why not reach out to them? Why not just say, hey, why don't you come over for dessert? Or your friends, maybe they all have their dinners and say, hey, you know what, why don't I hold the dessert at my house? Just come back to my house and we'll just have some time together. Or even bring the leftovers if you want. You know, a lot of times that we have to find ways to get out of our comfort zone. We have to find ways to get out of that isolation that we're getting ourselves into. So if you know of a neighbor that, you know, is going to be alone for the holidays, invite them over. If you know grandma is going to be alone at 3 o'clock because everyone disperses and leaves after the Thanksgiving dinner or the Christmas dinner or the Easter dinner, invite her over to enjoy your fellowship and just to kind of relax a little bit. Call your local church. See if there's any groups that are getting together during the holiday time. There's singles groups, there's women's groups, there's men's groups, there's the senior groups, there's even widow groups. Find out. You don't have to be a member of that church. So just call a church that's in your area and just say, hey, what do you have for people that don't have any place to go? Do you have any groups that are meeting? Any Bible studies that are going on? You'll be amazed at really what's out in the community, but we have to get ourselves out there and do something. So look around you. See if there's a need around you. The other thing that taps into that not isolating and looking around you is to bless others. You know, there's nothing better than the warming of your heart when you have helped someone or you put a smile on someone's face. And so when you bless others, just by inviting them over, that's blessing them. Or maybe, you're not sure what you want to do. There's the shelters that you can go help at. Call them and find out, hey, what do you do at Thanksgiving time or at the holiday time? Are there meals that you serve that I can help with? Maybe local churches that put on many local churches will put on meals for those that don't have the ability to do that themselves. And volunteer. Volunteering is a great way to bless other people. It feeds your soul. It blesses the other person, but it feeds your soul knowing that you are doing something to help someone else. And that's sometimes even with your family. Again, someone's going to be alone at the end of the day because the family's going different directions. Invite them over. The other thing I want to share with you is about planning. So if you know that maybe you might be alone on the holiday, or you might have a chunk of time where you're by yourself, plan. Plan to do shopping. Plan to go for a nice long walk. Plan to call that friend and say, hey, what's going on? And maybe reconnect with some people. I have a friend that's given me kind of an open invitation to come to her house for Thanksgiving. She's just always has said, hey, don't ever be alone, come over to our house at Thanksgiving or the holiday time. And you know what? I know it's going to seem awkward, but don't be afraid to call that person up and say, hey, you know what? I decided I don't want to be alone in the holiday season. Would you mind if I did take you up on that dinner offer, or coming over in the afternoon, or whatever it was that invite was for? Sometimes we have to be the one that has to reach back out. And so don't be embarrassed about that. It just so happens this year I am alone on Thanksgiving. But you know what? I'm okay with that because I've gone through enough different holidays, ups and downs, where it's like, I'm okay with it. And besides, my children will be coming home later in the evening. We're going to go to a play. And my children, this is the first time I'll actually have them on Thanksgiving. And so even though it worked out that way, I didn't exactly plan it that way, but we got the tickets. We confirmed it was okay with the other side of the family. And now we're going to go to a play together on Thanksgiving evening. And so that's a plan I have in place. But I still have all morning and all afternoon. So I have a plan. I'm going to put up all my Christmas decorations. I'm going to do some things around the house. Maybe over the holiday time, when you find that you might have some lull time, do some projects around the house. This is a time to do it yourself projects that maybe there's some painting or things that you've been wanting to do. And so kind of have a plan in place. If you think you might be having the holiday by yourself for different reasons, or maybe just a long period of time by yourself over the holidays, don't be afraid to just plan things. The other thing is to be open. When someone says to you, hey, what are you doing for the holidays? Don't try to be very, well, no, I've got all kinds of plans. If you're going to be alone over the holidays, just tell them, hey, you know what, thanks for asking. I don't really have any plans at this time. And so that gives them an opportunity for them to say, hey, come on over. I don't want you by yourself. There's times when I've been by myself and I've had people say, I don't want you alone. Come on over. Just come on over. Don't worry about it. And so I take them up on the offer because at the end of the day, I think I really don't want to be by myself. And so don't be ashamed to say, I don't have any plans, because people want to extend generosity to other people. But if you come from an attitude of, you're busy all the time and you've got friends all over the place and and you don't share with them that you're going to be by yourself, they're not going to think to ask. Or maybe you come from a big family and they're thinking, oh, they're all taken care of. And so it doesn't hurt to just say, hey, I don't have any plans. You know what's going on in the neighborhood? You know what's going on in the community? Things I can do to kind of fill that time. And that opens up the dialogue of communication with people so they know that you're going to be by yourself. Create a new tradition. I have noticed over the years with the different holidays that since I've been a single parent now about 11 years, I've seen the comings and goings of holidays. And in the last few years, my sister and I kind of fell into a tradition. Sometimes I'd go to her house and I'd spend Thanksgiving with her family, and then what we would do is we started just shopping at night, Thanksgiving night, because now the stores are open at that time. And we just kind of did it for fun. We get our little list together, and then we'd come home, and we go back online and find more things to get, and we could get so much done over that short period of time. But the best thing about it was that we just would laugh and laugh and laugh and spend good quality time together. So build new traditions. Maybe it's like I'm doing with my children. We're going to a play on a holiday night. Maybe it's going to a local production, a school production has something going on during the holiday season. I don't know what it's like in your community. But don't be afraid to start a new tradition. Maybe it's just getting friends together, friends that don't have other people to spend time with, family with. Singles groups. There's a lot of people that are, the kids go off with one parent and they're by themselves. And so start a new tradition. Maybe they all come to your house for dessert, or maybe it's for dinner. The other thing to think about is Mel Robbins talks about the 3 Ps not to do during the holiday time, especially when you are spending time with family, okay? And so this is when you're going to be going to your family's house, or maybe they're coming over to your house. And there's kind of 3 things she says, just kind of put a little red flag up. You don't want to go down this path. So the first one is the past. Don't bring a U-Haul of the issues of the past to where you're going to spend time with people. Sometimes, I haven't had it happen to me, but I know that sometimes that, people start talking and that starts a story from the past here, and that's just a story from the past here. And next thing you know, people are getting a little bit antsy or uncomfortable because now we're kind of going backwards in time, and we all have a different version of that season in time. And now we've got this really awkward atmosphere. So don't talk about the past. If someone brings up the past, just say, you know what? Hey, that was the past. Today's today. Let's enjoy our time together as a family, or let's enjoy our time together with friends. The other thing she says is don't talk about politics. Now, I'll be honest, I love talking politics. Even if we're not on the same page, I love talking politics because I like to learn and to learn about what people think. But I agree with what Mel was saying, is that sometimes that can put a negative or a damper on the day. Even if you agree with each other on politics, sometimes it can put other people at ease, or not at ease. And sometimes it could just kind of put a little bit of a heaviness over the group because people don't want to talk about politics all the time at a holiday gathering. So stay away from politics. And then personal life. Now, we've all been there, right? Aunt Mary's like, so when are you going to get married? Or when are you guys going to have a baby? Or when are you going to get a new job? Or when are you going to get a job that's closer to the family? Sometimes people mean well. They're not trying to get you upset. They mean well. It's just packaged in a way that comes across a little abrasive. So when people want to talk about the personal things, just say, hey, you know what? I would love to talk about that another time, but I really want to enjoy this time with my friends and my family. And hey, didn't you get a new car? Or hey, didn't you start a new job? Kind of turn the conversation around on them. Maybe just saying, hey, how are you doing? And that kind of deflects all the questions coming to you and puts the attention on someone else, which they're going to love. And so the 3 Ps, the past, the politics, and the personal life. Try to kind of keep those things at bay so that you can really enjoy yourself. There are ways that we can get around those conversations without getting defensive and getting mean-spirited, okay? And so really enjoy the time with your family and your friends, but you might have to find creative ways to do that. And so I wanted to share this. Look, when I went through my divorce 11 years ago, I've experienced all different kinds of holidays. So let me give you a little bit of scenario. So when I was 17, I lost my mother right in the month of November. So my first couple holidays there, November, December, I was facing without my mother at a very young age. But then, you go a few years and I get my independence and then I get married. I'm married into a large family. And a couple years after that, my father passed away. And then a couple years after that, I start my family. And things are kind of rolling along, And then I go through a divorce not long. My oldest was 6 years old and I went through a divorce. And then I had some couple holidays, Thanksgivings where I was by myself. Sometimes I was with some family members. My sister's family is very gracious to bring me and my children in on many holidays. I've had friends that have reached out to me and said, look, we don't want you to be by yourself. Come on over, especially right after I was divorced. And then now I'm not having a Thanksgiving with anyone, but you know what? My children are going to come home later and we're going to go spend it at seeing the Lions King. So I share that with you, not for pity, but just to say I've been through the ups and downs of holidays. I've been where I don't always know if I'm going to be with people or not. But if you apply these things, which I've been doing these in the last few years of, reaching out to other people, having a plan in place, because sometimes you don't know how it's going to go. But you know what? Listen, you're going to be okay. And if this is the first year of first, it is hard and it is lonely at times. But I promise you there are people out there that really care. They just need to hear from you of how they can help you. You know, if you say, I don't want to be alone on the holidays, that tells them you don't want to be alone on the holidays. What can we do to help him or her? And so don't be afraid to communicate some of these things. And if you have struggled through the holidays with family and stuff, I hope I've given you some information that will kind of give you some things to apply and to see what works for you. Kind of bring your personality into it and see what works for you. But don't be the 88% that's stressing over the holidays. You know, I know at times it's hard with some people, with friends and family, where it can get stressful. I understand that you got personalities, you got different dynamics. But you know what? At the end of the day, if we can just do something to ease that anxiety, to ease that pressure that we put on ourselves, I think we can really start to enjoy them. So my friends, I really pray that you were able to glean some things out of this to apply, not only just this holiday season, but all the ones to come. So my friends, be blessed and continue to live that courageous life and know that you are important and you're important to me.